Hi, I'm Laura Holyoke, and I have a short PowerPoint to go over with you regarding our course, Organizational Leadership, and a few things about the syllabus. First of all, I want to talk a bit about some of my course intentions and considerations in teaching this course. We will be using two texts. One of them is much less like a text than the other one, and that is the book Creativity, Inc., written by Ed Catmull. Catmull is, I think he still is, the president of Pixar. Anyway, it's a story about how Pixar began and Catmull's background, and I think he's a pretty good organizational leader, which is why I chose the book, and I think it should be a pretty easy read for people. You can also listen to it on Audible. And then secondly, we will be using Edgar Schein's Organizational Culture and Leadership book. We'll be using the 5th edition. Some people have asked about using the 4th edition. Normally, I would say yes, but there is huge differences between the 4th edition and the 5th edition. It's been reworked quite a bit and has more information, and it's better outlined in the 5th edition, and his son Peter Schein joined him on it. So if at all possible, please work from the 5th edition. What I have you do in this course is become familiar with Creativity, Inc. and Catmull, and then as we go through Schein's book, who talks about organizational culture and leadership and why it's important for leaders to understand cultures, he introduces quite a few concepts, and what my intentions are for you to learn about those concepts, and then also to look for where they're applied or used and how that's done at Pixar or by Ed Catmull. I am a stickler on citations. And one of the things that I've not been able to figure out is how best to cite our books. Both of them list the main authors, Edgar Schein, and then they say with Peter Schein. However, I cannot find anything in APA or to answer the question anywhere on the internet, whether it is Schein and Schein who wrote it, or whether it is just Edgar Schein. Inside the cover is just Edgar Schein, but I don't know where Peter Schein goes. I am okay then with either one of these citations, and if anybody is a sleuth regarding APA, I would love if you learned the answer to this. Same with Catmull. So I've never run into two books that I'm using both in the same course, and Catmull lists Amy Wallace. It says with Amy Wallace. I don't believe she's an editor, and I don't know how much she co-authored, but inside the book where you usually find the information, it just lists Catmull as the author. So again, I'm happy to use either one of the citations that's listed here, and just, yes, that's true. Our course evaluation, or what you will be evaluated on and to earn your grade, are 3 different things. So first of all, we're going to have ensuing discussions. I'm going to talk a little bit about these more in the next slides. So this is basically where you get together with other individuals from the class, either one person, a group of people. You can get together face-to-face, you can get together over Zoom, online. It must be at the same time, so synchronous, and to carry out discussions about Schein and the concepts and where you see those concepts happening in Creativity, Inc. And then second, we will be having what I am calling annotated concept notes. So I'm going to go over these in more detail because they are worth a chunk of your grade. And then finally, I'm asking you to write a paper to tell me about what you learned and how you're going to apply that. And that's worth 20% of your grade, 1,000 points total. The ensuing discussions. What I ask is for you to arrange and meet with a group to discuss the concepts from the assigned Schein chapters and to make connections to Creativity, Inc. So I think in discussing the concepts, you gain a better understanding of what they are, and with more than one person, you can usually come up with examples from Creativity Inc. To illuminate what it is that Shine's talking about. We have a Zoom connection that's available to anybody in this course that's listed on our homepage folder in BB Learn. So if you'd like to use that and set up a meeting and have 2 or 3 other people, please, you're welcome to use that. Finally, for the ensuing discussions, after the discussion has taken place, I would like for one person from the group to submit a list of all the participants, the date and place of your discussion, and then a quick bulleted list, kind of just a summary of your discussion, what it is that you talked about. So these are pretty easy points, and I think this kind of learning is good because it's social learning, and you get, I'm sure that students talk about a little bit more than just the text and the course. But I found in the past that students, quite a bit of good learning happens in these discussions. I will also be holding or hosting ensuing discussions throughout this semester, one for every time that you have an assignment to link to CATMO. And so the dates that I'm hosting discussions are listed on the web. We will always just hold the discussion between 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think I may have listed them in your schedule as Pacific Daylight Time, but I looked these up. They're both the same thing. And your attendance is voluntary. These are not mandatory sessions. You can, however, instead of meeting with a group of just classmates, you can count this as your ensuing discussion. I've had students in the past do both to increase their learning or deepen their learning. And again, this is the same Zoom connection that we will be using, that you can use. So the Zoom link is found on our homepage. You can use it with or without me. A note about that. And then the annotated concept notes. You have 5 assignments, 5 annotated concept notes assignments total. Kind of sounds weird when I say it like that. But the goal here is to engage with and apply the concepts from Shine to CATMO, to CATMO's book, call it Pixar or CATMO himself, to ensure that you have comprehended and deeply understand both the concepts and how they have been used or not been used, if you will. Please include in your concept notes an explanation or description of the concept that you're talking about. This may include any definitions and sub-elements related to the concept. And please, in your own words, use quotes very, very sparingly. Any contributing authors other than Shine. Most of the concepts are Shine's concepts, and that's how he talks about them. And when he points out different concepts or the main authors or concepts that have authors other than him, you can usually easily find that in your text. I then encourage you to go out on the internet and find more information about the author, the other author, and how they wrote about those concepts in order to complete your notes. And then please an example with details of the concept from Creativity Inc. and how it was used by CATMO, applied at Pixar, etc. I do have a template that I've uploaded for you to use for your annotated concept notes. I ask that you please use this. I may adjust it a little bit, but right now I think it's set. And I will also be uploading a rubric as well as an example. Formatting on your content notes. Please use provided template. I just said that, huh? Please use full sentences and limit your, if you are doing bulleted list, please limit them. And when citing sources other than Shine, please use APA 6th edition format. I will also provide a link to the online writing lab at Purdue. Excellent resource in terms of APA formatting. Ask that you use 12-point font, Times New Roman, double space, 1-inch margins. Whoops. So I wanted to redo the cartoon down here. And it says, I would have done a bibliography, but my sources prefer to remain anonymous. Anyhow. Okay, so the top part of this I can see is cut off a little bit. And in your syllabus, I've identified for each section of the book, Shine's book that we read, concepts that are contained in that section. And so on the left-hand side, for your annotated concept notes, your first assignment will come from part 1, defining the structure of culture in Shine's book. I'm asking you to address 3 concepts total. So you will choose 2 of the following: cultural DNA, 3 levels of culture, espoused beliefs and values, underlying, taken for granted, basic assumptions, or organizations as markets, hierarchies, or clans. And then I chose the last concept for you, which is the cultural paradigm of Pixar. I think in many places, such as the last bulleted point under the Choose 2, this is William Uchi, and he's pretty easy to find. And if you type in markets, hierarchies, clans, and Uchi, you could probably pretty easily find the article that he's written about this, especially on our library. If you do a search on the library. Finally, the last part of the course, I will ask you to submit a takeaway paper. So what is it that you've learned about organizational leadership? What knowledge and understandings are you taking with you from the course? And then how do you plan on applying them in your future endeavors, or how are you already using them? And then also to respond to why it is important for organizational leaders to learn about the culture of an organization. And we'll talk about this paper later, but it should be a pretty easy one to write at the end of the course. Thank you for your time, for listening today. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you find any errors, please let me know. If you have a better idea for implementing or presenting our assignments, I'm all ears. I'm always love to improve on the courses that I teach. So I am glad that you're here and looking forward to a wonderful semester.